conservative American message, hosted by the one, the only, Cam Lau. President Donald Trump announced his original candidacy for President of the United States over a decade ago. Back in the 2016 GOP primary races, there was a ton of candidates to choose from. And some were decent, some were pretty good, and most were just plain awful. Donald Trump was one of the most liberal GOP candidates on the stage by far in every debate he was in. I mean, Donald Trump has been a lifelong Democrat until the 2010s maybe he changed over. He had donated tons to the Democrat candidates. He was a big Democrat donor. And in the Republican field back in 2016, you had Jeb Bush, Ben Carson, Chris Christie, Mike Huckabee, John Kasich, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, Scott Walker. I mean, there were so many guys. The way that Donald Trump somehow rose to the top of that pile is amazing. Personally, I started out as a Ben Carson supporter. I always liked the idea of an outsider who has no political experience, no political ties to anything. And Ben Carson, probably, I'd say about the most Christian candidate out of that list. So that's a pretty good thing for his side. So I really followed his campaign and supported him up until he dropped out, and then his endorsement for Donald Trump. Well, that's what led me to this little ride called the Trump train, and I've been chugging along ever since. You'd be pretty hard-pressed to find a stronger supporter of Donald Trump than me in 2016, 2020, and 2024. Now, Donald Trump was never the most conservative candidate. He was never the moral Christian guy. We all knew that. We know who Donald Trump is. We understand his personality, his beliefs. We know that he's not the perfect guy, but he's a wild card. His brashness and rudeness, while mean, is so entertaining and funny. This is how he managed to win over the Gen Z and younger crowd. He made promises like he was going to drain the swamp. He's going to attack the establishment. He's going to burn the whole thing to the ground. MAGA was about breaking up the status quo. He was the guy that couldn't be bought because he's so stinking rich. Nobody can make him do anything. He's his own guy. He's independent. That's what drew us to Donald Trump in 2016 and thereafter. And he appeared to have been successful. In 2016 and his first administration after that campaign, he angered the swamp immensely. But here we are in 2025, and he's sinking in the swamp water. Now, I will say, Donald Trump has done more good than most presidents in U.S. history, and he will always be credited for that. I mean, the man was shot, for goodness sake. And no matter what, I will always have respect for him and the amount of good that he did. His greatest achievement by far has to be his contribution to the ending of Roe v. Wade and mass abortion in this country. His Supreme Court appointments are the ones that have saved millions of lives. He made a ton of promises back in his 2016 campaign, and I would say he kept a very reasonable amount of them, especially compared to most politicians who just lie straight through their teeth and don't do anything. He made a ton of promises in his 2024 campaign too, and I think he's kept a decent amount of them, but there's a few key things that he's left out. There has been so much good. I mean, he said he was going to close the border. Done. He promised mass deportation of illegals. He's carried that out. He was going to put a halt to wokeness, DEI, the transgender lunacy, all of this woke BS. That's significantly reduced. That cannot be denied. He was going to expose government waste, and with the help of Elon Musk and the Doge, they absolutely exposed a lot of government waste. I don't know how much of it actually got taken care of, but it was exposed, and that's the first step the American people need to know. He promised increased revenues through the tariffs, and you betcha that was done. Debilitating the drug trade, oh yeah. I mean, blowing up these boats of these cartels, this has been awesome to watch. So there's a lot of impressive things going on, things that almost certainly most of the Republican field back in 2016 or any other Republican that's ran for president would not have been able to accomplish. But there's a few other things, like put America first. There's certainly been a lot of support for Israel. What, am I a Nazi? We're not going there today. He was going to release the Epstein files. Well, you can see this is where it all starts to fall apart. He's pushed things a little too far. I have been a constant defender of Donald Trump, both in my personal life and on this show. I have defended almost everything he has done. I've painted the man as nearly a saint, not allowed us to push back on anything that he's done. But at this point, right now, with the Epstein files and with the Israel BS, I am pushed to my limit. He is holding back this Epstein information, and it's clearly about protecting himself from some type of incrimination. I knew Trump wasn't a good man. You knew Trump wasn't a good man. I'm not even all that surprised by this. I mean, I don't hold him to this incredibly high moral or ethical standard. We know how his personal life has been. But even if he was involved in some unsavory acts involving Jeffrey Epstein, I could at least defend his accomplishments and say that he was better than, the alternative, obviously. But damn it, Donald, you said you were going to release this stuff. You can't claim that it's some big hoax. This thing is real, and you are obviously hiding something. You are the one who told us that the Democrats are just trying to protect themselves and their donors, and we have to release these Epstein files. You are the one who told us that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself in prison, and now you've flip-flopped on it all. We are being gaslit, and it is by you this time, not by the liberals, not by the liberal media, but by you and all of the fake RINOs and mainstream conservative media. Maybe Trump truly isn't going to be implicated, and he's not actually done anything involving Epstein, and he could just be being pressured to protect somebody else. But I don't care. He's still got to face this. And if it is him, he might just be in self-preservation mode, and what else can you expect him to do at this point? But then why did he promise it way back in the beginning? It almost does lead to it being somebody else. So here I am still even defending Donald Trump to that degree, that I don't necessarily believe that he was involved in these sex crimes, but that he is now protecting someone, which still is not right. The mainstream conservative media, the Daily Wire, the Fox News, all of those crap medias are telling us that we can't release these files because, it could hurt the Donald Trump presidency. Well, we wanted Donald Trump for this stuff. We voted for Trump to get the files. If we can't get the files, then what did we need Trump for? Not to mention, he has now abandoned all of his true MAGA friends in Congress and joined up with the RINOs. Without the support of those few real conservatives in Congress, this is now a lame duck presidency, and lame Donald Duck is the only one to blame. He's totally killed all of the MAGA-based support. There's going to be no support for Republicans in the midterms, and the Democrats are going to gain huge amounts of power. They're probably going to take the whole Congress at this point. The guy has now surrounded himself with people who originally, back in 2016, and even some of them further along than that, were never Trumpers. They completely criticized everything about Donald Trump all along up until this point, and he has ostracized everyone who has been loyal to him since the beginning. All of those OG people are now out of Trump's favor. What happened to our precious MAGA movement? Is this what we get for entrusting such an important movement with an arrogant man like Donald Trump? Is this our fault? I mean, what other choice did we have? It was our only real shot. Maybe it was too idealistic to think that we could actually change things. So what's left? Where are we going to go from here, guys? We're no better off than we were back in 2008, with a failed weak Republican leaving the White House and absolutely no prospects with enough support that would actually get anything accomplished. And don't pretend that we would have been better off starting 2016 with a Ted Cruz or Jeb Bush. I mean, get a grip. The only hope we have here is for enough support to get behind like a Rand Paul or Thomas Massey libertarian type ticket. But that's always been a pipe dream. We've never been able to get there. I know that the younger people are leaning more towards that. So maybe, a couple decades from now, there's some hope. But who knows what state we'll be in by then. So does MAGA even have a future at all? Well, the future certainly isn't going to be Trump or his family. I mean, he's discredited everyone close to him now. Vance has never been a contender. He's establishment as they come, and he's got a Hindu wife, so can't be trusted there. Here's the thing, guys. I'm an idealist. I'm generally optimistic. I try to see the good in all these situations and tell you guys it's going to be okay, but Trump betrayed us, and it cuts deep. Even if he is a member of this Epstein club, and he goes to war with every nation Israel asks him to, and he doubled our national debt every year he was in office, I would still vote for him over Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, or Hillary Clinton. I mean, those positive changes I listed are still some of the greatest feats of any Republican president there's ever been in the history of this country. But I was just expecting more. Maybe that's not fair of me, but Donald Trump was supposed to be different, dang it. He wasn't going to play by the rules and take orders from all these lifetime politicians. What happened? Why did he become a puppet? I don't know. I really don't know how this happened. But I'm not going to continue to blindly support it, I'll tell you that. If the MAGA movement is going to be taken over by this RINO crowd, you can surely expect a Democrat in 2028. Let's just hope that our nation can survive that for at least 4 years. If we're faced with the policies of a RINO MAGA versus establishment Democrat, what's the difference at that point? I mean, I always think it's worth voting, but wow, that vote sure doesn't mean a lot. It'd be better off that we got like Bernie Sanders in the White House, because at least then people would start to wake up a bit. And if you're interested in how the Jews play into all of this, well, stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot more to come on that very soon. But that's all I have time for. Were you offended by this podcast? Good. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great week and stay conservative.